Hello everybody, I'm David, and today I'm going to be asking a question, and it is, who are the chosen, and what is the narrow gate? And, I'm not going to be given I'm not going to give an absolute, because that is not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you what I've studied and what I believe this to be, and I'm here to encourage. But Paul says, and he says it great when he says, I only know one thing, and this Christ and Christ crucified. And I love that Paul says that, because we can only build commentary around what Jesus said with the two greatest commandments: love the Lord your God with all your mind, soul, body, and strength, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And everything is built up around this, and built up around what Christ did, how Jesus walked, how he talked, and how he died, and how he rose again. And those are facts. Those are absolutes. And so please understand that I'm just giving you what I feel the Lord has given me. And so let's go ahead and dive into Matthew chapter 7, starting with verse 13, where it says, enter through the narrow gate, for the gate is wide and the road is broad that leads to destruction, and there are many who go through it. How narrow is the gate and difficult the road that leads to life, and few find it. Be on your guard against false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravaging wolves. You'll recognize them by their fruit. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? In the same way, every good tree produces good fruit, but every bad tree produces bad fruit. And now we're going back to the fruits, okay? We all know that Christ, according to John 15, is the the true vine, and we are the branches. And so if you're a Christian and you're a believer and you believe in Jesus, you're a part of that. Jesus is the good tree, and Jesus can only produce good fruits. And if you're a part of that, only you can produce good fruits. So what is the narrow gate? What is the wide gate that leads to destruction? So the narrow gate leads to life, the wide gate leads to destruction. And this is normally preached about good works. How well can you keep the law? Christians preach this. I'm sorry, but that is the way that I've heard it preached so many times. You got to be a good Christian and keep those commandments, and you're going to make it through the narrow gate. And not very many people do that. And I've even heard it said that the wide gate, the reason why so many go through it, and they're even Christians too, is because it says heaven, and they fall in because it says because the wide gate's going to say heaven on it, and so everyone's going to believe, oh, I can do what I want, I can be a good Christian and still do what I want, and I'm going to go through there and da 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 da. And so, but that's not what Jesus is saying here. Jesus is not saying that there's a deceptive sign saying heaven put across hell, and that's why people are going to go fall through. If that's the case, then why didn't Jesus say that? Why did not Jesus just say that? Jesus did not say that, so why are we putting words in his mouth? The narrow gate, the reason why it is narrow, is not because it's a gate that requires good works. It's a gate that requires full trust in God, that the grace of God is what gets you to the Lord through the narrow gate. The reason why the wide gate is so wide and so broad, and why does it lead to destruction, is because people want to mix their theologies. It's the same argument that James was having in James chapter 4. Starting with verse 7, the reason why his big argument was because they're double-minded. I want to hold on to Jesus, but I want to hold on to good works too. I want to hold on to law and grace at the same time, and you're mixing your theologies. And the false prophets are those who are speaking these things. And Jesus is throwing this in there because this is the argument that he continued having with the Pharisees, who are preaching what they're preaching, and the false prophets are teaching these things about works mixed with grace, the law mixed with grace, created double-minded individuals, and they're telling you that Christ, first of all, you got this issue that Christ knows that there's going to be a Gnosticism, that Jesus Christ really didn't raise from the dead, and knows that there's going to be those who are preaching law and grace theology. It's already happening, and it has been happening for thousands of years prior to this. So Jesus knows what's going to be done. I mean, think about it: wolves in sheep's clothing. Jesus wants to protect the flock, a flock that is solely dependent upon its shepherd. A sheep cannot do good works without its shepherd showing him the way. A sheep does not know where to go without the shepherd and his staff guiding the sheep with the rod to defend off the wolves. The sheep are not going to try to even please the shepherd. Except just all they know is, hey, I gotta trust in my shepherd, and so my shepherd's keeping me safe and keeping me sound, and my shepherd feeds me and provides for me and sees me and protects me and guides me. So all my faith is in my shepherd, knowing that the shepherd's doing everything that I need the shepherd to do to keep me safe and to keep me where I gotta go. So you got the false prophets. So you got that little pasture setting with a wolf in sheep's clothing. So you have that good shepherd area here, along with the good fruit theology that Jesus brings, that is spoken about in Galatians chapter 5, and that is also spoken about in John 15. I mean, the only way to produce good fruits is to be a part of the shepherd, to be a part of Jesus. Jesus is the tree that produces good fruits, and the only way that we can produce good fruits is to remain to be a part of Jesus, to be part of him, to know that as long as we are a part of Jesus and we're that branch, we can produce good fruit. There's no way we can produce bad fruit being a part of the good tree. Okay? So, the narrow gate, I believe, is the gate that is solely trusting in the grace of God. And not very many people can do that. They've never been able to do that. From day one, people have been trying to find a way of being good, set apart from God. And said, I can do this, separated from you. The gate that leads to destruction, that broad, wide gate, is those who put their full trust in the law and in their own good works, and yet try to hold on to Jesus at the same time. Okay? So it's the religious mindset. The wide gate is the religious mindset that leads to destruction. The narrow gate is the relation mindset with God, with Jesus, that leads to life. Which is why you got John chapter 14, verses 6 through 7, that talk about, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody gets to the Father except through me. Put your full faith, your trust in my grace, and you're going to get there. I'm the narrow gate. Also, I kind of want to look at some Greek words. Gate, which in Greek is poule. Now, we know that the gates are a metaphor. Gates often refer to power and authority. And what does Jesus say? That he says, "I give you my power and authority." So when we're going through the narrow gate, we know that all power and authority comes through grace from Jesus Christ. The wide gate that leads to destruction, oftentimes it's the power and authority in the law, is what I believe it's stating. Now let's know what destruction also means in the Greek is apolia in the Greek, which not only means destruction, but can also mean waste. So it's a waste to believe in the law, thinking that you're going to mix your theologies up and go through a religious mindset through the gate of destruction, believing that the gate of destruction, which you believe is a good gate. You don't know that it's going to lead to destruction. This wide and broad way, this road full of religious mindsets, legalism, and this political mindset, going through this. That's what most of the church is made up anymore. It's political, it's religious, and it's legalism, and that is the majority, and that's what's going to lead through destruction, through waste. It's just a waste. The narrow gate is going to lead you through life because it's full and trust in the grace of God and having a relationship with Jesus Christ, which gives you a relationship with the Father. And therefore going through this, you're going to have life more abundantly. You're going to have truth in its purest form, which is Jesus. I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life, and this is the way. So that is what I'm believing. And that is, study it for yourself and see what you believe. But I don't see anything talking about good works and law here. In fact, that is exactly what Jesus Christ does not want to see. That's been the whole argument in the first place, is that this is not the way. This is not the law is not going to make it. And why do I say that? Let's look at Matthew chapter 19, but also Luke chapter 18 and Mark chapter 10. All those talks about the rich young ruler. So Matthew 19, check out verse 16 through 23, or Luke chapter 18, 18 through 25, or Mark chapter 10, 17 through 27, or 22. There you will get the story of a man who comes up and says, "Good teacher, what must I do to gain eternal life?" Jesus says, "Why do you call me good? There's no one that's good except God." So Jesus humbles himself to not be in other words, putting God, the Father, above himself, knowing that I got to set an example for this guy. He believes goodness is what's going to get him to heaven, to the kingdom of God. Let me explain to this guy that he's making a terrible mistake. And so he gives out the law. Keep the law, keep the commandments. You know what you must do. Since you want to know what you must do, this is what you must do. Keep the law. The guy's like, "Man, I kept all the laws since my youth, everything." And she's okay. And Luke actually says that he was moved with love and compassion for this young man. Like, "Oh, you lost soul. You don't know what you're saying." He's like, "You lack one thing. Give up everything you own, and follow me. Because I am the way, the truth, and the life. I'm grace." He ends up walking away, because not even his obedience to the law can get him where he needs to go. If he would have asked and went up to him and says, Lord, I need you to get me to heaven. That would have been a completely different thing. Jesus would have said, you're on your way. You're on your way right now because you believe in me and you want to get to know me. You're on your way. That would have been a completely different story. This is the exact description. This goes very well with Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. This example. Because if that was the case, he would have said, now you're on your way to life. You kept the whole law. All right, you're on your way. Jesus gave him a completely different answer, an answer he did not expect. Give yourself up. You can't do it. Strip yourself of what you believe, you think is going to get you where you need to go. Because you're not on your way. The way you're on is a path to destruction and waste. So, Matthew 22, verses 1 through 14 talks about the wedding banquet. And I love this description because you get that he invites everyone. He goes out and he says, man, I invited everybody to this banquet. So he said all these invitations to those who believe they were worthy. And not one of them showed up. So he says, okay, he says, go out into the roads in the city, invite everyone you can find to this banquet. He says, the good and the evil, go and get them. The good and the evil, go and get these guys and bring them here. And so now they're all coming. They are welcome. They said, man, I want to go to this party. Okay, who wouldn't want to go to the party with Jesus, for instance? Okay, so I want to go to this party. And so they're all there, but they find this one guy that's not dressed in wedding clothes. This one guy is not dressed in wedding clothes. This is like the wolf in sheep's clothing. Okay, and they ask him, "Why are you not dressed in your wedding clothes?" And the guy was speechless. Go, I don't know. And he says, chain him up, throw him into the outer darkness, where there be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are invited, but few are chosen. What does Jesus mean by many are invited and few are chosen? I think it's the exact same thing going with the narrow gate and the wide and broad gate. So you got this narrow way where the reason why they're chosen, the ones who chose a relationship with Jesus, it's the ones who heeded to this relationship, this call for the wedding, this call to wouldn't be a part of the wedding. In fact, I think it's that this guy wasn't dressed in the bridal attire, and he's like, you're not that guy, because even at the end of Matthew chapter 7 verse 14, it says that many will call and say, Lord, Lord, but they would not enter into the kingdom, because everyone in a religious mindset would even call him Lord. But Jesus also said, don't forget what Jesus said to his disciples when he told them, he says, I don't call you servants anymore, for I call you friends. Jesus will know us as friends because we wanted that relationship. Jesus will know us that even though we might call him Lord, he'll say, my friend, my bride. You wanted that relationship with me. But these who are in a religious, legalistic mindset and political mindset, they will be, oh Lord, 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 oh Lord, yes, I've done this all for you, I've done this for you, and he's like, yeah, but you didn't want to be my friend or my bride. You wanted a religious contract, so I have to cast you out into outer darkness. Now, I don't believe this is hell. Jesus tells us that hell is a lake of is Sheol. And then we even know that hell is cast into the lake of fire in Revelation. This is outer darkness. So but like the Lord said, and Jesus said in John 13, John 3:16. I'm sorry, John 3:16. He says, for God so loved the world that He gives His only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believe in Him will not perish but have everlasting life. So, I believe the outer darkness is a part of the kingdom, but it's a place where they chose religion over relationship. Many are called, but few are chosen. So that's just my theories. Tell me what you think. I look forward to it. Please, I ask you to like this video if you did enjoy it, and please share it and subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. I appreciate it, guys. God bless.